quite a while ago, and it was I was doing a Dji Phantom 3 standard motor ESC stroke repair, and there were some issues with it and stuff, and we've got lots of comments on here people were asking for, so I thought I may do a quick FAQ to answer some of those questions, because there's quite a lot on there to go through and try and answer more and stuff like that. So I thought I'd do it this way around. Maybe I could do a series of these videos going forward, because there's lots and lots of questions I get quite a lot, especially on the older videos that I've done in the past. So I'm not going to mention names because there's too many. Some of these names are sort of like can't really mention them because they're hard to pronounce names as well. So I'll mention a couple of them anyway. The ones I can say anyway. So we got. Now let me see. All right, there's one here particularly I think started this video off with, and it was a guy. Doesn't actually say his name. It's just highlighted comment. It hasn't got a name to it anyway, but it says, "Hi Jack, having an issue with my drone. Bought it used from a guy from Facebook around $200. So obviously bought it quite nice, cheap. This is done in the last 18 hours ago. For $200, I got home and I did all the updates, but the motors won't start, and the GPS signal is not popping up. Cameras moves and all, but I'm not sure what's going on." So it could be a good question. Because we're talking about the Phantom 3 standard, the app for it is not. Is it Phantom 3 standard? Yeah, Phantom 3 standard still quite current. Because there's no firmware updates for it, I think that's it. So the last firmware update is quite a while ago, actually. Let me have a quick nose. That's interesting. So, see, because I got a lot of common questions come up when I had my when it was the Phantom 3 Vision Plus, and the app was no longer updated, especially the app itself for the latest iOS phones we're currently on now. So this would be interesting to see if there's no support for it and when the software was last updated. So it'd be interesting. So I'm just going to go on DJI's website, because this is what everyone should be actually doing, is going on DJI's website, looking at the version and seeing what is quite current. So Phantom 3 standard. I think it's still a sellable item, not 100% sure. But let's have a look at the software. We can tell by the software date if they have actually made any updates for it or not. So downloads. So download stubs still there, which is a good sign, because sometimes they hide all this. So the app, let me have a look on there. So the last firmware was done back in 13th of the 4th, 2017. Nothing since, so that probably tells me product support is now stopped, so there's no more firm updates. Normally they do quite regular updates. They're doing quite regular updates means it's still supported. In this case, the Phantom 3 standard is obviously end of life, I would suppose, as they say. So last firmware up was 1.4. It hasn't changed since 13th of the 1st, 13th of the 4th, so 13th of April 2017. Now, the other thing is you've got to check as well, because the iOS version or your Android version changes quite regularly. So the app on this, you have to look. The app version will require at least iOS 8 or later. Compatible with, and then it gives you a list of phones it's compatible with. Android version is version 3.1.30, and that will also tell you what it's compatible with. If the iOS version or the Android version on this is not compatible with your typical model of the phone, it might be worth looking at third-party sources like Lychee or something like that to run instead, and that may help, because I know those sort of apps are always currently updated, and they carry on going forward because they try and keep it backwards compatible as well as current stuff. Now I would check the app to see if it is compatible with your phone or tablet. If it's beyond the version of yours, it basically means you're running an iOS or an Android version that wasn't designed for. So that's when things start becoming buggy in the software and stuff. Now I know with the Apple, when you buy, because you're actually buying a second hand for somebody else, you need to set up an app. You need to register with DJI with an account with them, and then put them details into the app, and then it registers your drone. Otherwise, it won't power up or do anything. It'll just sit there like what you're doing. So check that it's registered on the app, So that could be another cause, or the other cause could be genuine. The guy who had sold it as issues with it, hence why it don't work. So it sounds like you may have a duff one. So check all those things first. That's what I would do. Check the app version. Check what firmware version it is. The app will tell you what firmware version it is. If it's anything on from not 1 point, where is it? 1 point. So where are the app? Download software. So if it's not on 1.4 and it's on less, then obviously you can update it to 1.4. What else is there? And check the app version as well to make sure it's current for yours. Because a lot of the people when they buy DJI drones, they don't actually realise is I've got a tablet. We use a tablet on it. That'll work fine. The app will download onto the tablet and run. But what you don't realise is you've got to check on DJI's website if the tablet you've got is the version they support, because they support most of the iOS tablets. There's a few tablets that are not supported by the app. It'll run still, but won't functionally work properly, hence why buggy. So you have to check all those. So go to DJI's website, check all that first against what devices you have got. Because obviously in this message you put on my board, you haven't really stated what phone you use, whether it's Android, iOS, iPhone or iPad, or whether it's a tablet of another make or manufacturer. So you have to check all those. So check all those first, and go from there. Basically, that's what I would do. If not, come back to me. Send me an email directly to my email address, which is all my details are on my website and my YouTube channel, and I'll then see if I can throw any other sort of way your way. Now, one of the guy Noel was asking about switching motors around. So the way I tend to look at faults. So if I get a drone in, for instance, it's got 4 motors, only let's say one of them's not running properly. I had one that's intermittent that'll go round but not as fast as all the other 3. So that tells me it could be an ESC issue rather than the motor, or it could be the motor. It's very difficult to say. So what I do is I swap that motor to the opposite, because the opposite side is the same motor that spins around the same way as that one. Swap them around, which means desoldering them off the board, resolder them back on. Now if that motor behaves the same on the other side, then we know it's a motor issue. If it doesn't, it spins up normally, but the motor you swapped it with does spin slowly, we know it's ESC issue. And on the Phantom 3, the issues are built onto the main board, which means you have to buy a new main board. Now this answers another question that mentions here, I think Matthew mentioned it here, saying, so typical, it's the motherboard, so it needs a new one, not much of a repair then, cheap to buy a new drone. That's another course, yes. Sometimes it outweighs, especially these sort of type models, probably cheaper to buy a new one. Main boards can be expensive, and as parts are getting very hard to get hold of from DJI, they will get expensive, and you will have to look at, probably looking at upgrading. Cheaper to upgrade. Another guy made a suggestion on here, I can't remember his name now, said about why don't you take a chip off another board. That's only if you've got a spare board. If you've got a spare board that's got a spare ESC, and you know the ESC is working but other things are wrong on it, you could do that, but the ESC chips are very tiny, very fiddly, unless you've got all the right tools and the right soldering iron and you've got plenty of time to waste, then do it. But for me, repairing drones, it's a complete time waster, because I'm not going to say to the clients it's going to take me 6 hours to desolder chips, resolder chips, blah blah blah. It's going to be so much per hour. It costs too much money. It's not feasible. It's not achievable. If it was me as my own drone, I had lots of spare parts, I wasn't doing it as a living, then I probably would look at doing that, see what I can rescue off other boards. It's time consuming, and you've got to have the tools for it, you know. So it's alright for people that have all that, but if you don't have all that, what's the point? It's just time wasting. So it's easy to just buy a new board. Especially if you're on the hour, charging by the hour, then obviously it's more achievable to buy a new board itself, rather than waste all that time trying to get the chips off. And if you try to apply too much heat, you could burn the chips out. You don't know what state they're in unless you have some sort of like oscilloscope that can test all these sort of things. So it goes into the electronic side. If you know a guy that's really good at electronics and makes things with electronics, and he's really good at it, then maybe he'll be able to do it for you. But they're not always around. Not many people that are in electronics to that degree. You know, I know a few people in the past that I've able to sort of say, can you do that for us? But quite recently with a circle of friends, nobody's into electronics, so it's a bit difficult. See what else we've got on here, because most of these questions talk about the chips replacing the ESCs. You can't buy the ESCs on their own, they're part of the main boards. Going back to the old Phantom 2 Vision Plus, or even the Phantom 2 range, you could replace the ESC because it was a separate board, easy enough to desolder and resolder on. But the Phantom 3 Standard, Phantom 3 Pro and Advance all has everything built on the board itself. So you have to replace the board. The only ones that don't have the ESCs built onto the board, which are on the circuit board, is the Phantom 4 Pro and Advance. That side they have, I think they have one board that has two ESC controllers on it, so they are easier and replaceable. About, I think they're about 50 quid to replace. But Phantom 3 Plus, Phantom 3 range, no, you've got to replace the main boards unless you get a cheap second-hand one that you know is in good condition. There's a lot of bad ones out there, especially when I did repair drones for about a year or so. It might be about a year, and I stayed away from buying second-hand stuff because you never guarantee what the quality you're getting when you purchase some stuff. People might say, yeah, it works fine, you get it. And I've heard a lot of people that was trying to save costs and say, would you repair my drone? I'll get all the parts for you. We're buying second-hand stuff, and 9 times out of 10 I got them, fitted it, wouldn't work, broke them, knackered. Because I said to him, what, did you buy new? He goes, no, I got it off of eBay. There you go. See, not worth doing it. Gary, is it Gary Kelly? Jack, how do you feel about all tail robots grown? Oh, what's this? Top shots. All-tailed robotic grown. Thank you. New Jersey, cool. All-tail robotics. Not seen you for a while. Oh, the Mikey Show. Hiya. You know, it's been a while. Finding things to talk about now because drone market's sort of disappearing, and I'm not buying any more drones or wasting money. Maybe in the FP racing game I will do. Back to questions. Let's just quickly go through, see if I've missed anything on there. PSC3 motors, better high performance motors. See, the other thing is you can't just replace the motor on your Phantom 3 because you've got to replace the ESC to match as well. Have you lost interest? No, I'm still in drones because I still fly a drone, still fly my Phantom 4. But buying them, it's like, what is else out there to purchase or buy? You know, I could spend a fortune on buying all the different models of DJI, but there's nothing really that sort of catches my eye. I think, oh, buy that and do a review on it. I mean, DJI's now got to a point where they're only doing small updates and checks. I'm not paying out a lot of money just for a sake of a new motor or a new blade they're putting on. You know what I mean? It's crazy. I'm gonna do some more, doing some more on the news side and some more on the questions I've got coming up. That have, I get a lot of people still commenting on the old stuff I'm doing. That's why I did this video for today for. I sold my Inspire 1 a little while back. I'm not going to buy Inspire 2, it's too expensive, and especially the application and licensing for the raw stuff as well, that's really expensive, so not really worth doing that. I'm more into my Osmo now, and my new crystal sky display as well. That's awesome. And now I've got the bracket for the Phantom 4, so I'm going to be doing a review of that soon as well, because that works with my Osmo and my Phantom 4. So that way I don't have to use my phone anymore to run backs and forwards. I get my crystals. If you've got a Phantom 4 or Phantom 3, these do work with those, and they work with the Osmo as well. So you're looking for a screen, so you don't have to worry about your own phone. Because the thing I found with my phone, using my phone, is battery keeps going down quite quickly, or if I forget to charge and I go out for a flight, then I can't fly because it's not enough juice. These are brilliant. I see what you mean. I wouldn't mind a Mavic Air. So I wouldn't mind to get the Mavic Air. I wouldn't mind a Spark, but it's like money wasted. I'm running a few more channels now, so I need to sort of like divert which channels can do the best and stuff like that. And hopefully those channels will build up a bit more, so I can put a bit of money into this maybe and get a few more drones. But I have been, some questions have been coming up on my channel about racing drones. I mean, I like racing drones. I do get a lot of spare time now, and I'm thinking of maybe purchasing a storm racing drone. There's been questions on that. I'll do it as another video later anyway. So let me just go check, because we're getting sidetracked here. We're asking questions about other stuff, and I do get people commenting after the video saying, "Oh, you went off track." Well, what do you think? You've got people asking me different questions. I may have to do a topic that sort of doesn't say DJI or something like that on it, you know, and we can have a normal sort of chin wag too. Yeah, so a lot of people talk about motors. I just recently sold all my gear. I had tons and tons of spare for the Phantom 3 all the way through the pros that I recently sold. A guy over, if I can remember now, he was quite local in the UK. He brought it all because he was going to do Phantom repairs. So I'm going to have to catch up with him and see how he's getting on to see if he's still doing it. If he is, then we can put that up on the website. So if you need anything repaired, he will do it all for you now. So that's not quite. Do you do repairs? As nothing comes up. Can you upgrade the PSV motors with high performance motors? Oh, this one, Robert has said on my chat, on my talk. You can't, on the Phantom standard 3 standard motors, you can't really upgrade them unless DJI's got better motors. But again, when you upgrade motors, you have to upgrade the main board. So in theory, I don't think they have on the Phantom 3 standards. They did it on one of the models they upgraded, but that you had to change the board for it. And now the Phantom 4 has that now, the new version 2. So that's it. Most some of the questions on there. I talked long enough, I think, actually now. So yeah, so I would check those sort of things. If you're buying, be careful out there. If you're buying a second-hand Phantom 3, whatever model it is, on eBay, and you're getting it nice and cheap, check before and do all, as much check as you can. You can physically go and see it before buying it. That's what I would do. Be careful because there's a lot of people out there selling broken ones just for the sake of getting rid of it to upgrade to like the 4s. If you've got a Phantom 3 and it's broken, I will sell it on. I won't worry about repairing it. Put the money to better use by buying an updated version. I will go for the 4 Pro, at least that's got better camera. So you're looking at upgrading a 3 to a better camera quality. I'll go for the 4 Pro. If you're looking to upgrade it to something smaller maybe, but not worry about the quality of camera, then you've got the Maverick Pro. The Spark looks good, but I do like the Maverick Pro Air. So that's one thing I was been playing with, where to purchase that, because I do like the idea of that actually. So I may look at, once I get a bit of finance sorted out, I might look at that, doing that actually, the Maverick Pro Air. That does sort of appeal to me quite a bit actually. There's one guy on here I talked to quite a lot on messaging, speaking to him probably about the last 2 years now, and he's collecting, he's probably watching this and thinking, oh god, he's got a whole collection of drones. He's got quite a lot. I said he needs to set up a DJI museum for it all, you know. He's even got a he's even got a Inspire 1, I think it's version 2. He's got all the spare batteries for it. He's got a case for it. He's got all that, and he still has not fly it. So I think you guys should all comment below and mention his name. His name is Richard. I'm not mention his last name, and say you should get out and fly your Inspire. So that might encourage him to go and fly. But anyway, I've been talking enough. Anyway, got off sidetracked a bit on the Phantom 3. We'll do some more FAQs coming up as well, and I may do an FAQ in general, so you guys can just interact and have a chat. But we probably schedule this more over Facebook, so it gets more people on, because obviously these ones are just ad hoc as I sort of do it. So I've got rid of Jack's Drones Facebook page. It's now Jack's Gear. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to merge my channel with Jack's Gear channel, so there are two separate channels running at the moment. So this is all talking about drones related stuff. I do a few things drone related on Jack's Gear as well, because eventually I like to merge them together, try and combine them as one channel, so I only got one area to upload, because on there I do loads and loads of stuff. I just recently doing things about, you know, charging hubs. I just recently built 3 unraid servers, so they've got things like that on there. My new gaming rig. I've got water cooler for my gaming rig. That's all on there as well. There's loads of videos to do all this sort of stuff, all networking side, server side, backup storage, internet load balancing. I've also even got a channel talking about my Socio collectible statues and stuff from Marvel, DC comics and things like that. So it's definitely worth doing a search around for me. But Jack's Gear Facebook page is everything to be updated for Jack's Drones and Jack's Gear side. So you'll catch me what I'm doing all on there as well on Facebook. Just do a search for Jack's Gear, all one word, and you'll find me. You'll know when you're seeing, because it's JG logo in sort of a rusty sort of metally colour effect. But yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. Thumbs up if you like this video. Thumbs down if you don't like this video. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you on the next update when I do it. So hopefully in the next few days, I'll post everything on Facebook to let you guys know. So thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.